To cross the universe at the speed of light, I think, is like making a train journey from Glasgow to London on a train that is travelling something like 1 millimetre per century, which makes even privatised British Rail seem pretty fast. So if you set off from Glasgow to London and after a century you've travelled a millimetre, that kind of rate of progress would take you to London in the same time as you would cross the universe travelling at the speed of light, which is 300,000 kilometres every second. Even then, though, I mean, who can imagine a train journey to London at a millimetre per century? The numbers are just so vast, very difficult to get your head around them.
This is a real photograph of 20 billion stars. Among them, astronomers have found clues that suggest some may well have planets. The evidence forms part of a theory which describes how the universe and our solar system came into being.
The further you go back in time in the universe, the further we get away from the physics of every day. And the most extreme example is when you go right back to what people think of as the beginning.
Science cannot say what there was before the universe began, only that there was nothing. No space, no time. And without time, words like before and after lose their meaning. Time and space began with a big bang, but the early universe was nothing like what we know today. For hundreds of thousands of years, the temperature was so high that even atoms could not exist. The particles that would go on to make them seethed in a fiery state called a plasma. All the matter in the universe began an explosion outwards that continues to this day. Even now, space itself is still stretching.
The Big Bang is probably the most extreme example of things that, or the many things in astrophysics that I don't understand. You know, people seem to think you're in some eminent position in astronomy, therefore you know everything about astronomy, but far from it. It's impossible for me to grasp this sudden moment when, following nothing, at which all of a sudden there was this intensely dense, intensely hot point expanding rapidly outwards. From that point onwards, I can sort of grasp some of what is alleged to have happened, but what it means in terms of our concepts of space and time, I simply don't know.
Eventually, the universe cooled down to a few thousand Celsius. Atoms began to form, and virtually all the universe existed as a gas, hydrogen. But the Big Bang was uneven, and in places gravity began pulling the gas together. Over the next billion years, so much hydrogen gathered in some regions that conditions were right for a nuclear reaction, and the first stars began to shine. However strange astronomers' theories may sound, they are based on real observations.
I think there's a misconception that science is trying to discover the truth, and personally I don't think there is such a thing as the truth in the realms of science. Science is a way of describing the universe rather than explaining it. It's a description which we try to make as simple as possible as we move on, of how things happen. You stick your neck out, you say, my theory is this, and you make predictions from it, and if those predictions are wrong, then you have to give up.
Testing theories needs evidence from stars and galaxies of all ages. Luckily, the fixed speed of light makes that easy. Light travelling from objects near to us gets here sooner than light travelling from objects in the distance. A snapshot of the sky shows stars close to us when the light left them, maybe only 10 years ago. But in the same picture, very distant galaxies show up as they were when the light left them, millions of years ago. So a single image like this tells a story that stretches way back across time. The first giant stars only lasted a few million years before they exploded, seeding space with dust. This real picture shows the Eagle Nebula. It's a gigantic cloud of cosmic dust. It is lit from behind by the light from hot stars. In the dark, bubbly clouds, astronomers believe that stars and planetary systems are being born. Our solar system would fit in the tip of this dark finger. Indeed, it formed in a place very like this. Over billions of years, gravity pulled the dust together in a spinning disk around the early sun. Lighter materials spun off to the edge and went on to form the giant gassy planets. Nearer the centre, the rocky worlds like Earth took shape. Because it formed by recycling the ashes of earlier stars, everything in the solar system is second-hand. Our sun, our Earth, even our own bodies are made from the dust of dying stars.
It's astonishing. Whenever I say that, I find myself disbelieving it. I mean, it seems more fantastic than many of the more extreme religious belief systems that are around. But the only thing that makes it a little bit more palatable and comprehensible as a plausible theory is the fact that the universe is so old. I mean, this stuff has 1 billion years to spread out. Mountains get worn down by winds and water in 1 million years, so given time, it is amazing the things that can happen.
In time, like all stars, our sun will also run out of nuclear fuel. It will swell up and engulf the inner planets, possibly including Earth. More massive stars explode to be recycled once again, but our star will end its life as a tiny, dark ball of ash. If human life still exists, then will be the time for us to become the aliens and move on to other worlds.
I think it is likely that with all the stars in the universe, that around one of them there must be a planet that has conditions that are suitable for life. Whether or not they are close enough for us to ever meet, who knows?
Personally, I would be astonished if there weren't life, intelligent life elsewhere in the universe. It is puzzling that if life is common, why is it not easier to find? You might have thought that the first radio telescopes to look for signals from other stars would immediately have found them, and yet we haven't. It's a very sobering thought, but the first episode of Coronation Street, the signals from that have gone out to a distance such that thousands of stars could have received them if there were intelligent people. But maybe that's why they haven't bothered to come and look, because Coronation Street was too much for them. I don't know.
To me, the whole thing was not frightening in any way. I know now that people do think that UFOs are frightening, but my experience wasn't in any way at all. I've always thought of it as a very friendly experience.